This week's video is a gig diary. I haven't done one of these for a while. These are the videos where I try and give a bit of a taste of what it's like to be a professional musician working in the UK. And along with that, I sometimes do a little bit of nerdy guitar gear talk if I've got something new to show. So coming up this week, me trying to play a solo whilst not being distracted by a dancer. What you should do when the fire alarm goes off mid-song. And on the same gig where the fire alarm goes off, I managed to do a song with my dad and my daughter. Then some completely unplanned harmony guitar. Attempting to play a famous electric guitar solo up the dusty end of an acoustic guitar. And then perhaps most controversially, I'm playing a song that's less than 10 years old. So first of all, let's kick off with some guitar gear nerding, just to get it out of the way. Now I've got this new pedal. This is a Steel String Supreme made by Vertex Effects. I've already done a video on this where I've captured it on my Quad Cortex. I'll link to that here. But I've got some footage of me using this live. In this first bit of footage, I show you the setup I'm using. It's a borrowed amp. It's a Fender, I think it's a modelling amp, a transistor amp. I'm not even sure what it is. But by putting this in front of it, it made it feel much more like a valve amp, which was very nice. At that point, I'd only used this pedal with two borrowed amps. One was a valve amp, a Blues Deluxe, a hot rod one, and this modelling one, which you'll see in the next clip. And it really does something nice to it. It definitely makes it sound more like a boutique amp. Let's have a look at this clip then. This is just a little run through of the gear that I'm playing through, and I'll show you in the video what it sounds like with the two different parts of the pedal on and off. So this is the setup. Moving on to some of the footage from the sound check and the gig. Now, the strange thing always seems to happen between the sound check and the gig. Now, I'm not sure totally what causes this. Now, it's probably partly to do with the room filling up with audience. It's also to do with the fact that the band play a bit louder when the audience arrives. But for some reason, the sound always seems to change rather a lot. I'm going to show you two clips here. The first one from the sound check and then the second one from the first song of the gig. And you can hear how much the sound changes. And I can tell by the way I'm playing very hesitantly because the sound has gone a bit peculiar. The amp sound on the gig starts to sound very transistory again. Now, I'm not sure if I'd remembered to turn this on. I think I had, but anyway, it had gone very peculiar. So have a quick look at these. As is often the way on these gigs, once you've started the gig, although you've got your sound right in the sound check, once it's completely changed on the gig, you then spend the first few songs fiddling around with it. Now, I've got a bit of footage here from the fourth song. This is Steamroller Blues, and I pretty much sorted the sound out. I think it sounds pretty good on this, and I think I was clicked on the delay pedal as well. So check this one out. You ready? to the next gig. This was a solo acoustic guitar gig at a venue that I play regularly, and something happened that doesn't happen regularly. The fire alarm went off. Now, it went off in the middle of a Jimi Hendrix song. I often get asked to play songs that are electric guitar tunes, and I attempt them on acoustic guitar anyway, just for the development of it. And this was Little Wing, and as you can hear, the fire alarm goes off just after the solo. So what's the best thing to do once the fire alarm goes off? Well, it's to pick an aptly named song by the same artist of the song that you were doing when the alarm went off. So here we go, check this one out.
So I stopped and little games. I didn't help the Jimi Hendrix one. You don't care about me, I don't care about that. Got no fool, how I like it like that. There's only one engine desire. Let me dance into your fire. Let me stand into your fire. Let me stand. Let me see your face. Let me stand.
A couple of clips here I really want to show you. The first one is me playing with my dad. In fact, I'll start off with a bit of a solo that I did. You can't see him on the video, unfortunately, because he was stood to one side. But then I've got a clip that somebody filmed from the audience. I think it was one of my daughters filmed it. So I have got some footage of him playing. He only sung on this one rather than just playing. So let me show you that clip. And then following that, there's a clip of my eldest daughter, Ellie, singing Valerie by Amy Winehouse. So I wanted to show you that as well. So here we go. That was the most multi-generational gig I've done. I often used to play with my dad, not so much anymore, but my daughter is starting to more frequently, so maybe one day we'll do a song all three of us together. That'll be fun. Moving on to another gig. This was a solo gig. This is in the same town where I live. And it's the first time I've done a solo gig here for a very long time. In fact, it might be the first time I've done a solo gig there altogether. But I used to play there twice a week in the morning, doing a preschool singing group for young children, playing things like Wheels on the Bus and If You're Happy and You Know It. So I didn't do any nursery rhymes on this gig, but I did have to do 3 45-minute sets. This was agreed upon when it was supposed to be a duo gig, but unfortunately at the last minute, Christabel, the singer who you've probably seen in one of my other videos, wasn't able to do it, so I ended up doing the gig on my own. And 3 45-minute minutes just with an acoustic guitar all on your own is very hard work. It took me about 4 days for my voice to come back and my hands to stop aching. But there we go, I got through it and it was a very enjoyable gig. I found a couple of clips that I think are quite fun here. The first one I did, the boys are back in town, and for some reason I decided to layer up the harmony guitar parts, which was completely unplanned, as you can probably tell by listening to it, as I didn't quite get the harmonies exact, but I'm going to work on that for next time. Anyway, I thought it was quite fun, so here we go. And then another song requested by someone, another song that's actually an electric guitar song and very difficult to play on the acoustic guitar. This is Sultans of Swing. I'd layered up a backing track using my Quad Cortex, using the looper. If you want to see how I set that preset up with the looper and everything and how I use it, I've done a video which I'll link to here. So I layered up the round and round chords at the end, and then I did the solo, the famous widdly diddly bit, which goes right up the dusty end of the fingerboard. So here we go, have a look at this. Finally, another electric guitar gig. Now this is a gig I used to do very regularly. We used to do it every 2 weeks, and it stopped in March 2020 when lockdown came in, and we've been trying to get the gig back ever since, and this week was the first time we've done the gig in, well, over 2 years now. This is one of my favourite gigs. We kind of have a real nice play and play songs that we like to do, and on this occasion I used my new pedal. Where is it? Hang on. I used this again, and this was the first time I'd used it through my own amp. So I'm using it through my boutique hand-wired amp. Prior to that, I'd only used this with the borrowed amps, which were either transistor or kind of printed circuit board amps, and it really made them sound good. But it also made my amp sound really good. Now, it sounds like quite bright on this. I might have to work on that and temper it slightly. I did have the bright switch on because I like the sound of it, which I like the sound of that, so I might have to bring the bright switch or the treble down on the amplifier. But anyway, I thought it sounded pretty good. So have a listen to the tone on the first song. This is Valerie. This was actually the first song we did, and I had more gain on my drive pedals than I would normally have. So it's not a sound that I would necessarily have gone for, but as I started, it kind of lent itself to the way I was playing it. And I put a bit of delay on, along with this, which I left the supreme, just the EQ section, not the gain section. I left that on for the whole gig, so check this out. And now another solo, which I was quite pleased with. This was funky music. I quite enjoyed this, and then towards the end I started doing some rather silly stuff and ended up doing that Dick Dale tune at the very end. So I thought this was quite fun, so I included it. Here we go. And then finally, to round off the video, playing a song which is less than 10 years old. In fact, I think it's only about maybe 5 or 6 years old, by Tom Minsch, who I had heard of, but I'd never actually heard his music. And this is called Disco Yes, and it's got a really cool guitar part. Now, I know I'm doing it slightly with a bit of a unintentional Stevie Ray Vaughan inflection, which I didn't intend to do. I'd only just learnt the little tune, and I'm kind of doing it in my own way, which wasn't intentional. But anyway, I think it sounded quite good, and I was very pleased with the guitar tone on this. Sort of sounded quite Stevie Ray Vaughan, John Mayer using this. Of course, this is what this is advertised as doing, because it's the clone of the steel string singer, which both John Mayer and Stevie Ray Vaughan famously used. So, see what you think of this. Controversial, I know, playing a song that's not out the charts. I mean, I like to play songs out the charts. They've normally been out the charts about 40 years. I thank you. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit subscribe, hit like, leave me a comment. I'm bringing out new videos every week, and I shall see you next time.